Hey everyone, we're just shooting a little bit of a garage gym update. I've managed to acquire some new things recently and it's getting pretty close to tax time here in Australia, so I'll likely be making a couple of other updates in the next few months. So we'll take a little bit of a walk around the gym and look at a few of the pieces, talk about why I chose them and also future plans and how we're going. My gym is a little bit different because it is not just a garage gym, it's also a garage and back patio gym. Thankfully my wife is really understanding about this hobby, so she's let me take up some space additionally on the back patio, and we'll take a look through and see what we've got. Righto, so we'll start with the very latest addition. This is I think it's called a Pro Smith machine off of worldfitness.com.au, or possibly Jimmy Fitness, but I think it's a World Fitness machine. Got it on sale, so about half price of what its normal retail is. Would not pay full retail for it, full retail price at that money. I could really start looking at a full commercial, but certainly at the sale price, it's really happy with it for the money. You can see here it's got some pretty decent quality welds and finishes. As a Smith machine, I prefer this design. It's it is a straight up and down Smith machine. Comes in two boxes. They're relatively easy to assemble. Took about an hour to put together, and the movement on the Smith machine is quite buttery smooth, so really happy with that. Obviously it's for accessory movements, so really good for things like incline, Smith press, shoulder press. I definitely prefer it for shoulder presses over barbell presses, and even some, my wife likes it for hip thrusts and glute kickbacks, and it's also a nice break to feel a little bit more stable for things like barbell and table rows. From there we've got a pre-core style leverage squat. I've got about 10 machines in total, and they're sort of like my big 10 that I would use if I went to a commercial gym, so definitely want to have a chest supported row, and it's a lot of fun being able to use that one to hit the back. One of my favourite chest presses of all time is the hammer strength style flat chest press, converging movement pattern, which is really good. Both of these machines actually I got from Ultron Fitness here in Western Australia. Both really good value, both brand new, so that was really nice. Next up we've got a Facebook Marketplace find. So this is an old Highlander branded machine. It's a leg extension. As you can see, the plate stack goes up to about 125 kilos. Pretty hard to find leg extensions with plate stacks that heavy, so really happy with that. We'll move on, see what else we've got. We've got just a cheap, again, I think this is a World Fitness or World Gym 45 degree back extension. It's only about $200 brand new. The reason I went with this one actually is because as a back extension it's quite light, and it makes it really easy to move around the gym. As you can see, I've got a fair bit of stuff packed in here, and yeah, so space being a consideration for the back extensions. The accessory movement, I wanted something light, something that wouldn't be overly difficult to move around. Next we've got sort of the centerpiece. It's a ATX 80mm by 80mm half power rack, with a couple of customizations. You can see there in the back I've actually repurposed an ATX jammer arm, and with this jammer arm I've actually turned it into a belt squat, so pretty happy with the design. ATX now actually sells a rack mounted belt squat, and it's fairly similar to this design here, so I'm pretty close to got it right. Unlike the proper J squats that are made by Cyrenex, I have a little handle there, and I actually just use that handle to move the safety bar out of the way when doing belt squats, whereas most of the Cyrenex style ones, there's a counterweight at the top which makes it sort of move out of the way on its own. So I'll probably look at modifying that or buying a kit separately if they eventually sell the jam arm kit. I've got the dip bar attachment back there, a couple of ATX single landmine handles, which I actually keep in there because they make a really wonderful handle to use when you're using the belt squat to help keep you upright. There's about 300 kilos worth of competition style bumper plates, which I use when using the belt squat or the rack itself. I've also got up there a couple of the ATX landmine handles. They're really good quality handles. You've got the narrow grip, which is more of a medium grip, which I prefer, which get your elbows back a bit further, and then we've got a wide grip as well. We do have next to it a little bit of Americans use a brand called Wall Control, but this is I think it's called a racket system, which you get from Bunnings, just for a little bit of organisation. ATX barbell holder, just for my normal bars. I've also got a cambered bench bar coming as well, so that'll take up that 5th slot. I did go past it before, but I do actually have a 9-bar barbell cube here as well, just for all of the specialty bars. There's a Smith bar in there, back squat, a safety bar, trap bar, bicep curl bar, and a neutral grip tricep bar as well. So that's pretty much the barbell collection. Now we get onto the machine stage. So this was a really good find. So I got this actually for free off of Facebook. It was really rusted, but I took it back down to bare steel with a wire brush on a grinder, and then repainted it and ordered in some new pads. So it's a body solid leverage squat. I do actually really like the pendulum squat style machines that you can get at commercial gyms, but they're a little bit big for the garage. But the leverage squat is a really old school but tried and true machine, and it works quite well. And then I actually drilled some additional holes and just added in an extra long bolt and put some bicycle rubberized grips on it, and it actually makes a really decent Viking press as well. So it was a good way to get a bit of extra functionality out of it. Next is my Synergy seated leg curl. It's the only machine in here that hasn't been painted black yet, but I'll probably look at doing that. The reason I like this leg curl as opposed to some others is because the top pad actually doesn't sit on top of your legs, it actually sits in front of your knee. So it keeps your knee to be sort of the perfect pivot point without having to squash you down with a supporting pad on top of the thighs. And it's a really good movement. It's actually a very well designed machine by Synergy. I do have up there the just a little bit of Armortech wall ball storage with a couple of medicine balls that I bought at the end of financial year sale from SMAI a couple of years ago. So those medicine balls were only like, I don't know, $30 each I think at the time, so that was really good. This is another one of my favourites. So this is a Maxim branded seated side lateral raise. Again, it's got a 90 kilo stack on it. I'd like to meet the person that can do 90 kilo side lateral raises, so that's a lot of fun. And again, it was only about $200 actually, from a guy that had a similar setup to me. It's the middle of winter here in Perth, so that's pretty much, Perth's got fairly moderate weather, so that little heater there is pretty much all I need to keep the gym nice and warm. We do also have in here just a couple of my benches. So that's a loaded lifting flat incline bench. It's also very similar to an ATX Warrior bench for those people that I would have gotten the ATX. I'm actually a big fan of ATX equipment, obviously, but for freight it just wasn't worth paying the additional freight for. What is effectively a very similar bench. I won't say it's the same because I haven't used the ATX bench, but at least from the photos it looks to be very similar. We have here a Vulcan Fitness IPF spec flat bench, which is also, you know, a lot of fun to use. Very comfortable for benching. Both of the benches have wheels and makes it very easy to wheel those around the gym. Over here we've got an SMAI, I think it's called just a utility storage rack. Really good rack. Comes with 4 shelves. As you can see on the bottom 3 shelves, you do have the ability to incline them slightly, or you can flip the shelf over like I have on the top shelf and have it as completely flat. It doesn't come with the rubber matting that you can see, but you can just buy a roll of rubber matting from Bunnings, which is what I did, to stop that metal on metal contact and keep the rack looking nice. I've had the rack for at least 5 years now, and it's still in really good condition. Set of dumbbells from 3 kilos, so about 7 pounds, I think, for anyone looking in the US. It's 2.5 kilo increments going up to 35 kilos in 2.5 kilo increments up to 30 kilos, so that's about 70 pounds, and then 5 kilo increments, which would be 10 pounds, going up to 50 kilos along the bottom, which is about 110 pounds, so almost a full set, but going to those bigger jumps once I get to the heavier weights, you don't really notice the really small increments once you get into the bigger dumbbells. I do have a very small gym fridge in there, and a gift from my daughter. That's my Tom and Jerry lifting buddy. For the sound system in here, I've just got 2 Harman Kardon Bluetooth Wi-Fi speakers that you see there. A little, just a multi-port USB there, which I then use to connect a mouse and a big screen TV to my phone, and then I can use that for watching Machiavelli motivation videos and things like that when I train. Cardio section, so I've got the Proform 22-inch fitness bike. I do use iFit, which is their software program to online instructors and outside bike rides that you can follow along. We've got a variant of an assault bike. This is the SMAI AirFit. Most air bikes are pretty good irrespective of the brand, so that works really well for interval work. We do have just a cheap, again Facebook, $200 Nordic Track treadmill. The thing I do like about the treadmill is that it works beautifully in terms of incline and speed settings. It's quite quick to respond, which is really good, and thankfully, because I've got the TV sort of directly in front of it, and that TV is on a pivot arm, I can angle it right in front of the Nordic Track, and then that SMAI, that iFit software on the bike does also have a mobile phone app, which I can then put up on the TV, and then use that to put my sort of international Himalayan or mountain style running right in front of you on the screen, and then you can just copy the speed and incline off of the TV that's in front of you. This is one of the few, again, bigger pieces that I did buy brand new. This is a Trojan Fitness don't actually sell this piece anymore, but for people on the East Coast, A1 Fitness Supplies actually sells this machine. But this is a commercial grade hack squat and leg press combo, so you can flip that pad up and there's a steel foot plate underneath if you want to do hack squats, or you can flip up this center pad here, and then behind it it's got a steel leg plate to turn it into a leg press. My version only has the 2 plate storage horns, but as you can see by the steel 45 pound or 20 kilo plates I've got at the back, they are quite wide, and I can fit approximately 10 plates per side, so that would be about 400 kilos or around 950 pounds ish, so almost 1,000 pounds it'll get on it in leg press. As a hack squat, just point of note is because of the extra steel to have the additional pads and things like that, the carriage on this thing is actually quite heavy, so you do not need a lot of weight on this thing when you're hack squatting at all. It's just a little Kmart style storage rack for shoes and a few pads and things like that. I've got the ATX. I know that probably looks a bit crowded, but that seat does swivel out of the way. The only reason it's there is because I do still actually park the car in this sort of space here. So I can still get one vehicle in the gym. But that's an ATX 125 kilo stack, lat pull down, low row. Again, really nice heavy stack on it. ATX stuff is quite bomb-proof in terms of design. That's a 80mm tube centre brace. So despite being a very small, very compact lat pull down low row, and the low row you actually sit on the floor, as you can see there, if you want a low row off of it, and I just put one of those pads under my butt so it still feels like I've got a seat even though I'm sitting on the floor. This is the next piece that's probably going to be replaced. It does do an okay job, but it's a 4:1 ratio copy of a Tough Stuff 6-pack trainer. For shoulders and arms it's fine, but because of the 4:1 ratio on the pulleys, it's not really heavy enough if you want to do things like cable chest presses on it. It is okay for cable flies, and if I really need to try to bump the weight up, I do have over here a product called the Gym Pin. These things are really good. You can order them off the internet. You can either order the genuine one, the Gym Pin, or you can look at Catch Fitness. They actually call it I think they call it a weight stack extender. Basically, you just slot the pin into any pin-loaded machine in the hole there, and then you can use it to add additional plates to your gym. So I can actually make it decently heavy. With the Gym Pin, I can put an additional 60 kilos or about 130 pounds on top of the machine and make this feel a bit heavier. So yeah, that's pretty much it machine wise. Small note, I might be doing some DIY because I'm not supposed to, in the agreement that I have with my wife, I'm not really supposed to go past these mats here. Then I am really chewing up a lot of extra space in the garage. So currently that's where the Smith machine is, but either my wife gets used to its current location, or conveniently I've measured it and it will fit. I could just unbolt it from the base frame there, and I am quite confident it will fit nicely on the inside of the half rack, sort of between the front and rear post, and then I can have this this half rack, which really is, like I said, it's one of my favourite pieces. It really is commercial quality, individual numbered holes on the rack, laser cut. It's really beautiful. I forgot to mention the landmine attachment before, but yeah, so potentially we'll be adding the Smith machine to the insides of the rack. We'll see how it goes and if the wife gets used to the Smith machine in its current location or not. Right guys, so that completes the tour of the garage gym as it stands, approximately beginning of July 2022. Watch this space. Hopefully at the end of tax time, bonus time, we might be finally getting an upgrade for this functional trainer over here. Potentially looking at a ATX wall mounted functional trainer with the pivot style arms. See how we go. See you soon.